Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. This is my first time addressing this body as president of our great Transport Workers Union Local 100. As such, it is a pleasure and a true honor to present this report on the state of our union in 2017 and to look ahead to the big challenges we face together in 2018 and beyond. First, I want to thank our previous president, John Samuelson, for the remarkable work he has done since taking the reins of leadership in Local 100 on January 1st, 2010. I proudly served with John throughout this period as Vice President of the Maintenance Away Department. It was an honor to work with John as he took a union torn apart by 15 years of political infighting and rebuilt Local 100 into the strongest, most militant, and most respected local union in New York City, New York State, and beyond. John was elected our new TWU National President at our International Union's 25th Constitutional Convention in September. I was part of the Local 100 delegation that helped make John's election a landslide victory. I'm confident that John will bring the same energy, the same out-of-the-box thinking, and the same dynamic leadership qualities to our international union as he brought to Local 100 for the past 7 years. With me as president here in Local 100 and John as our international president, working together, I know that Local 100 is going to become even stronger and more able to represent this membership. Since this is my first time addressing our mass membership meeting, I like to say a little bit about my background. I come from a good working class union family. My dad was a union carpenter, my mom a seamstress. I'm first generation Italian American. Both of my parents came from Sicily as a young couple. I'm a proud TWU lifer. Transit was my first and only job out of high school. I went to Grady Vocational in Brooklyn, and I got my job as a power maintainer helper in 1980 at 18 years old. I got elected to my first position in the union as a section officer in 1982. Since then, I've been elected to a number of different positions for 35 consecutive years. It's been a fulfilling career as a union officer representing brother and sister transit workers. I certainly look forward to continuing the journey as president of Local 100. Since our last membership assembly, we had a number of other changes to the top leadership of Local 100. Angel Gibbio retired as administrative vice president of Local 100 at the end of 2016. To replace Angel, the Local 100 Executive Board unanimously elevated CED Vice President Nelson Rivera to that office. The Executive Board also unanimously named longtime CED officer Shirley Martin as the new CED Vice President. More recently, the board voted to promote LES Chair John Shirillo to replace me as Vice President of Maintenance Away. In the divisions, the board moved up LES Vice Chair Duvat Williams to the chair's position. And in the private bus division, the board named Carlos Bernable to replace Bill Mooney, who retired after a great career of service to Local 100 members. No report on the recent history of Local 100 would be complete without paying tribute to our union's retirees. Those thousands of members and officers who kept us strong for nearly 8 decades. They fought the battles that brought us our first contracts in the subways and on the private bus systems. They walked the picket lines in all our union's high-profile strikes, including the 1962 private bus strike that paved the way for the creation of MAPSTOA, and our 3 citywide bus and subway strikes, including the 1966 strike, possibly the most important and high-profile strike in American labor history. Our TWU Local 100 Retirees Association currently has nearly 7,000 dues-paying members. That's about a third of our current retiree population. The association does an outstanding job of keeping our retirees connected to their union and connected to their friends and co-workers from the job. The association is also building the clout of our retirees into a strong political force to fight for and protect the rights and benefits of older New Yorkers. The association has a motto: You are either a retiree or a retiree in training. So respect our retirees, brothers and sisters. We all hope to be there someday. As we look back at 2017 and look ahead to 2018, I'm pleased to report that the state of our union is strong. Our finances are in good shape. We're growing as a result of strong hiring by our current employers and by organizing new workers. Most importantly, as we meet here today, I'm proud to say that every dues-paying member in Local 100 is covered by a collective bargaining agreement. The only workers not covered by a contract are the ones most recently organized, including Big Bus New York, Big Bus Washington, D.C., and the MAPSTOA staff analysts. During 2017, we continue to grow the union the old-fashioned way, by organizing workers in need of strong union representation. Because of TWU Local 100's high profile in New York City as a union that fights hard for its members, many of our organizing campaigns get started because the workers come to us. That is a very good position to be in, considering the fact that the union movement as a whole continues to shrink. We have an excellent organizing department in Local 100 led by Frank McCann Jr. and assisted by Dexter Victory and Robert Clouden. This year we have organized upwards of 1,000 new members by scoring NLRB PERB election wins at Mount Sinai Hospital Shuttle Services, the MAPSTOA Career and Salary Employees, Big Bus New York, and Big Bus Washington, D.C. The Big Bus properties are part of New York's tour bus industry. Big Bus is rapidly becoming the big dog on the block. Now they are TWU Local 100. We currently have active drives going on at several other properties. Our TWU Local 100 and New York City Transit Training and Upgrade Department continue to provide vital education and promotional opportunities for our members. The department offers a cross-section of courses aimed at helping our members improve their transit skills and prepare for promotional testing. During 2017, we proudly graduated our first class of the local's new Upward Advancement Program, which provides a unique promotional opportunity for workers in the lowest paid titles to advance to a guaranteed budgeted position. In late spring, this first class of 20 from among the traffic checkers and the CTA titles successfully completed a 900-hour program at Apex Technical School in Long Island City covering plumbing, masonry, and carpentry. The students began a 3-year apprenticeship program in MOW titles and when completed will advance to a maintainer's position. The Upward Advancement Program represents a fulfillment of an earlier promise to create an internal career ladder that requires budgeted jobs for the first time ever. The original program was sidelined during the MTA's financial cuts in 2010. A complete political action report is being presented at this meeting. However, I want to commend our PAC department for their work during 2017. I would like to highlight several areas where our political staff made particular significant impact. Early this year, our PAC department launched an effort to secure legislative approval for earned paid sick days for thousands of workers, including our school bus workers and Liberty Line members in Westchester County. We were told by the political pundits, forget about it, this is never going to happen. Despite that negativity, we have made significant progress. The defeat of Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino by our candidate, Democrat George Latimer, on November 7th just might put us over the top in 2018. Also, on November 7th, Local 100 was a big part of the strong labor coalition that defeated the so-called CONCOM ballot initiative. At the end of the summer, polls suggested that voters would approve the New York State Constitutional Convention. But on Election Day, our efforts that include door-to-door labor walks and an aggressive paid media campaign turned that possible defeat into a landslide victory. The battle for a safer, more secure workplace never ends. As soon as we put out one fire, another one starts somewhere else. This is especially true as it relates to exposure to diesel exhaust. The union continued its fight to rid our workplace as much as possible of heavy diesel fumes. Our campaign is being spearheaded by Secretary-Treasurer Earl Phillips. This year, as a result of our efforts, the authority accelerated the replacement of heavy diesel-powered equipment with battery-powered vehicles. The tragic on-duty death of construction flagger Lewis Gray on November 3, 2016, spurred the union to force management to perform a full review of flagging regulations. This review exposed serious life-threatening flaws in the MTA safety protocols. As a result, in early 2017, the union reached a stipulation with management to halt trains when flaggers are setting up yellow warning lights on curbs with limited visibility. Also, supervision must designate a lookout whose only job is to stay in visible and verbal contact with flagging crews. Interaction with the public often leads to bad results for transit workers. We have pushed hard on this and to get district attorneys to more aggressively prosecute those who assault transit workers. Our chosen and successful candidate for Brooklyn DA's office, Eric Gonzalez, promised such action during his campaign. Local 100 took a big step outside the box this year when we cut the ribbon on a first-of-its-kind homeowner and homebuyer counseling center in the Bronx. Here's the way it works. Counselors from the Neighborhood Housing Service of New York City provide 3 essential services to Local 100 members and the members of the Bronx community. These include obtaining sizable grants for first-time homeowners, financial counseling to help union members qualify to purchase homes or refinance high-interest mortgages, and foreclosure prevention counseling. The new counseling center was made possible by the union's decision with approval from the Federal Housing and Urban Development and other city and state agencies to detach itself from the Daniel Gilmartin houses in Queens. The Gilmartin apartment building was originally set up with federal housing grants to serve the needs of TWU retirees on fixed incomes. But as the union gained more power and saw members and retirees' earnings rise, our retirees could not meet the means test as lower income applicants because of the strict federal and city income eligibility requirements. The solution, years in the making, was to sell the property and reinvest the funds into something union members can use today to better their lives and those of their family. Local 100 had to reinvest the proceeds for a similar type of nonprofit use. The TWU Counseling Center on Westchester Avenue is the result. Local 100 Secretary-Treasurer Earl Phillips did an outstanding job in working with architects and contractors to get this facility up and running. He also monitors the center's activities to ensure it is fulfilling its promise as a benefit to TWU families and the neighborhood. Local 100 sponsored numerous events this year to celebrate the union's vast and diverse membership demographics. Our union has always been a mirror image of our great city's immigration patterns from the earliest days of industrialization to today. Immigrants have historically looked to transit and of course TWU Local 100 as an avenue to a solid blue-collar career, a smooth transition to life in New York, and most importantly, a path to the middle class. In 2017, we sponsored participation in 11 ethnic parades and celebrations. We also sponsored our union's annual Family Day event, the Westchester Picnic, our 9/11 Remembrance, and Veterans Appreciation Night. We found ourselves in a battle with Mayor de Blasio this past summer when on June 27th, the A train derailed at 125th Street toward the end of the morning rush. The derailment came after weeks of daily subway delays due to single and switch failures, track fires, and other problems. The incident ignited criticism by the mayor and other politicians against the MTA. The union immediately published a 10-point work boots on the ground plan to bring immediate relief to the passengers. The MTA leaned heavily on our plan when they published its own $850 million fix. The plan promises the creation of as many as 2,400 new permanent transit jobs for TWU members. We have already seen a burst of hiring in some titles. At the time, the state of New York pledged to pay half, but typical of City Hall's attitude towards transit, the mayor refused. We unleashed a flurry of ads and scored huge coverage of what we labeled the 50-50 is fair fight in the free media. The mayor quickly began cracking again. This time he admitted the city must do more to support the MTA. He proposed a millionaire's tax that must receive state approval, a very heavy lift. TWU will keep the pressure on. Local 100 is doing its best both financially and otherwise to help the recovery effort in Puerto Rico, the homeland of so many of our members and their families. We have contributed financially both to the TWU International Hurricane Relief Fund and our own Local 100 Disaster Relief Fund. Local 100 delegates to the TWU International Convention in late September contributed generously to a fundraising effort that yielded nearly $125,000 in donations in less than 1 hour on the convention floor. We are also sending volunteer Local 100 members and officers to Puerto Rico to directly assist Puerto Ricans in their greatest time of need. I want to single out our Administrative Vice President Nelson Rivera, TA Surface Division Chair Willie Rivera, and Vice Chair Armando Serrano for their leadership in this effort. We intend to send help to the Virgin Islands and Dominique in the near future as well. On the collective bargaining front, 2017 has been a very successful year for Local 100. In mid-January, we reached a tentative 28-month contract with the MTA, covering the bulk of our local-wide members, the 38,000 men and women employed at New York City Transit, MAPSTOA, and MTA Bus. The contract was ratified the following month by a secret mail ballot process in a landslide 70-30% margin. The contract achieved all the union's major collective bargaining goals, including wage gains, protection of our health benefits, and an improved dental plan. Most importantly, there were no givebacks. We also achieved contracts for 2 newly organized groups of workers at the MTA, the computer specialist titles and the career and salary workers. These agreements mirrored the financial gains for the main TWU Local 100 MTA contract. However, we secured vital extras for these workers, including the free Metro North Long Island Railroad commuter pass, longevity pay, and a fix to overtime language. These agreements proved important in the union's successful organizing drive among the staff analyst titles. We are currently in negotiations for a first TWU contract for this group. Earlier in the year, we brought home 2 excellent contracts in the school bus division for drivers, monitors, and mechanics at Supertrans and mechanics at STA. The agreements provide solid wage increases and many other enhancements. There were no givebacks anywhere. We also scored a good contract for our members employed by Quality Transportation in Brooklyn. More recently, we nailed down a tentative contract for our 650 members at First Mile Square in Yonkers. We were forced to set a strike deadline on November 6th to get the company a new owner to bargain in good faith. 2017 has certainly produced some big wins and big changes for Local 100. 2018 will bring its challenges. Some we know about, others will come out of nowhere at any given moment. The one challenge we know is coming is the fallout from the Supreme Court case on Janus. This membership assembly heard a separate presentation on Janus, so I don't want to repeat that here. I do want to say, however, that the powerful right wing in this country believes that Janus will crush public sector unions across the country financially. They believe that the union members like you will use Janus as an excuse to not pay dues and thereby cripple our efforts to win strong contracts for you and your co-workers. I consider everyone at this mass membership assembly loyal TWU members who believe deeply in our union. Together, we must convince the Local 100 members at large that we must remain a 100% dues-paying union. By doing so, we declare ourselves the strongest transportation union in the world. In closing, I would like to say that we in Local 100, along with our TWU International Union and the labor movement at large, is the only organized force fighting for America's working families. We are the firewall for the American middle class. We are the defenders of the path to the middle class for the working poor and the ever-arriving new waves of immigrants to our city. This is a heavy burden, but it is a burden we in Local 100 are used to carrying. So let's continue to carry these responsibilities with the same pride, dignity, and determination as previous generations of Local 100 members. Thank you and have a great holiday season.